Welcome to your complete guide to IELTS General Training Writing Task 1. I have for you 3 Band 8.5 letters, formal, informal and semi-formal, which we prepared together with the former IELTS examiner. And you'll learn how you can write letters that meet all the requirements for a 7, 8 or 9 score. Over 30,000 students have used my method to prepare for their exams, and their results are truly amazing. So let's get started with the formal task. You have recently noticed that your work computer is getting too slow and outdated. Write a letter to the general manager. A general manager is not your manager, it's the big boss. In your letter, explain the problem you have with your computer. Give some examples of how this affects your work. Suggest some solutions to this problem. Write at least 150 words, don't include any addresses, and begin your letter with Dear. We only have 20 minutes, ideally even less. And the task is to write a letter that addresses each part of the prompt. The task, the 3 bullet points, without forgetting any of them, and without including any irrelevant information. Well, apart from opening and closing with a polite statement, which is fine. That's important for a high score for your task achievement. But that's not all. There is one more requirement, and many IELTS students struggle with it. The tone is consistent and appropriate to the task. So task 1 is testing our ability to write in different and appropriate tones. There are 3 tones. Formal, writing to a boss or someone in authority who you don't know, or maybe you don't know their name, just the job title. Our letter is to the general manager, the big boss who runs the company. To make it formal, you need to choose more formal words and expressions, and also grammatical structures. And I'll show you what those are in a second. You may need to write a semi-formal letter, writing to others at the same level, such as colleagues, neighbors, and so on. For example, we take the same task and make just one change. Instead of writing to the general manager, we'll write to the co-workers, and this will require a less formal style. And an informal letter is when we're writing to friends and family members. Let's say that the computer you use for work is getting slow. Write a letter to your friend. The first 2 bullet points stay the same, and in the third one, we ask how to solve this problem. Okay, apart from the different tone, there is one other important difference between our 3 letters. Each of them now has a different objective. The letter to the general manager is more of a complaint. The one to co-workers makes suggestions. And the informal letter asks for advice about what to do. I worked with the former IELTS examiner to write all 3 letters for you. And before we start comparing them side by side and learn how to meet all the requirements, here is the structure we'll be following in all the letters. So first of all, we need a greeting. Then we write a short introduction and explain the problem, so we address the first bullet point. In the second body paragraph, we address the second bullet point, give examples. And in the next, the third bullet point, make suggestions or ask for advice, and we add our closing in the same body paragraph and a sign-off. This is not the only possible structure, and my course students learn a more advanced one, which works better for some tasks, but this one is the easiest. Now let's have a look at the 3 opening paragraphs. Each one establishes the right kind of tone and goes straight to the point, telling us who's writing and why. Formal. Dear Mr. Brown. In formal letters, we use the surname or Dear Sir or Madam if we don't know their name. as a member of the team working in the finance department, I am writing to you concerning the desktop computers currently installed in our office. I am writing to you concerning or in regard to is a very formal way to open a letter, and I use it in almost all formal letters, so memorize it. As you are no doubt aware, the company has made no new IT upgrades for 5 years, and I am convinced that this is having a serious negative impact on work performance. This last sentence is very formal. Do you feel it? If not, don't worry, you will once you compare it to this semi-formal letter. Dear team, I'm writing this to share with you my worries about our office PCs. I'm writing this to share gives us the feel of a serious topic written in a friendly style. And we use the contraction I'm instead of the formal I am. For the last month or so, mine, meaning my PC, has really slowed down, and after checking with the purchasing department, it seems our desktops haven't been updated or changed for 5 years. I replaced the formal I am convinced with less formal and softer it seems. Now let's have a look at the informal letter. So how informal should it be? It has a very different beginning and also different vocabulary and grammar. Dear John, how's everything? I know we're gonna meet up at the end of the month at that reunion party, but there is something I need to ask you about my PC. You're still the best computer nerd I know. The vocabulary is more colloquial, informal, from the greeting, how's everything, to meet up, and to the best computer nerd I know. If you don't normally call your friends nerds, you don't have to. But generally, the vocabulary is simpler. And the grammar is simpler too. But this letter would score as highly as the other two, between 8.5 and 9, because that's what you need in an informal letter. You know, when we are writing letters, it really helps to learn some common expressions to use in formal, informal, and semi-formal letters. And I think this is so helpful that for my course students, I created a whole guide with phrases for complaints, suggestions, invitations, and so on. For free, you can download some very useful formal phrases. And if you're interested in more in-depth, step-by-step preparation for writing and speaking, which will save you time and help achieve a higher score, check out my courses too. Both are linked below. And we're moving on to the second bullet point, where we want to give examples of our problem in a new paragraph. So let's first look at the formal letter. Pay attention to how everything is logically connected between sentences and also within sentences. This will help with a high score for the second requirement, coherence and cohesion. This paragraph starts off with, for example, making the connection to the previous paragraph where we mentioned the impact on work performance. For example, I have noticed lately that the one assigned to me takes a long time to start up at the beginning of the working day. And besides that, it slows down considerably or becomes unresponsive when several tabs are open simultaneously. Now, in this sentence, the second part is added with and besides that. And the second sentence starts with since to show that this is an explanation as to why this is important or this is a serious issue. Since many tasks in the department require checking data on spreadsheets while compiling financial reports, such hindrances have made it extremely difficult to meet important deadlines. And the third sentence adds another example and starts off with the connector furthermore. Furthermore prompt payments of invoices to service providers have also been held up. In this paragraph, we have a number of linking words such as, for example, and, besides that, since, furthermore. But linking words is not the only way to connect ideas. Examiners also look for reference words such as the one assigned to me, referring back to the desktops mentioned in the opening paragraph, or such hindrances, meaning the slowing down issue. Now, in the semi-formal letter, the task is the same. The ideas are the same, but what's interesting is the vocabulary. And I'm not going to read it in full. What I want to do is compare how our choice of words and expressions differs between the formal and semi-formal styles. And if you'd like to read this paragraph in full, pause the video to do it. I have noticed lately is formal, semi-formal or informal is I've found, takes a long time, again, less formal takes ages, at the beginning of the working day, or simply first thing in the morning. So the word thing is more informal. Slows down considerably. So considerably is quite formal. Or tends to get stuck. So stuck is informal. When several tabs are open simultaneously. So simultaneously is very formal. We can just say, if I have 2 or more tabs open. Many tasks require checking data. So tasks require is a passive form and it's more formal than just saying we are often looking at. While compiling financial reports, so the verb compiling is formal, we can just say as we are writing up financial reports. Phrasal verbs are often slightly or very informal. Not all of them, but many. And the formal linker, furthermore, can be replaced with not to mention. Both the formal and semi-formal versions use precise words and expressions, but the style in the semi-formal version is more colloquial. We replaced some formal words with some informal ones. You may be wondering if we used so many informal expressions in a semi-formal letter, what are we going to do in the informal version? Well, we're going to go even further and we're going to change our grammar too. It's going to be simpler, but the score will be as high because that's the way you write informal letters. So pay your attention to grammar. Over the last few weeks, it started getting slower and slower and takes about 10 minutes or so to start up after I turn it on. Well, first we use a lot of contractions. It started. Then in informal writing, we use more phrasal verbs, start up, turn it on, which tend to be slightly less formal than single word verbs. Not only that, when I'm working on 2 things at once, like a report I'm trying to write in a spreadsheet, for example, the screen often just freezes for a minute at a time. When you give an example that interrupts the sentence, like in this case, like a report, for example, you can use long dashes called dashes or just put 2 short dashes before and after to separate this part from the rest of the sentence. The examiner will be impressed. Also, informal writing is more emotional. It's so frustrating because I have to stick to pretty rigid deadlines and I'm getting behind with my work. To stick to deadlines is a very informal phrase. To meet deadlines is neutral. We can use it in any letter. For a freelance accountant like myself, that's a nightmare. Again, we use more exclamation marks in informal writing to show our emotions. Of course, we can use them in formal letters to say congratulations, but not what a nightmare. I keep getting these calls from clients asking me what's going on. Again, a very informal sentence. Now I'm going to show you the final paragraphs, and the difference in styles is very noticeable here, so it's important to get them right. And it's funny because when I'm reading them, I really feel how formal writing is quite stiff and reserved, and informal is so friendly. Okay, formal. I would therefore propose that the company consider updating its entire IT equipment, including the replacement of existing desktops with the latest models, to ensure that we continue to provide first-class service to our clients and support the company's strong financial performance. Yours sincerely, Michael Turner. In formal writing, we use words like therefore propose, ensure, and continue to provide. And we sign off with the full name, Michael, not Mike. Next, semi-formal. I would like to suggest that we email the general manager to point out the problems we are facing and to recommend that the company replace the old computers and update its entire IT platform so we can get our work done efficiently. Let me know your opinions. Yours, Mike Turner. The writer signs off with his short first name, Mike, and the family name, suggesting a friendly but co-worker relationship. By the way, have you noticed this phrase? Recommend that the company replace, not the company replaces. Is it a mistake? No, that's called the subjunctive mood. Here are some examples. I suggest that she go. We recommend that he take. He insists that they be, or I propose that this be done. And we use it to express demands, suggestions, and recommendations, and we use the main form of the verb. Okay, now the informal letter. So my question is, what should I do? Do you think it would be enough to just update the system and software, or is it best to invest in a new model? I've had it for around 5 years or so. All the best and thanks, Mike. So it signs off with the classic all the best, adding thanks and just the first name. Mastering the tone is really one of the most important aspects of writing a strong IELTS letter. That's why I've prepared for you the PDF with formal phrases. And if you want to save time preparing for your exam and learn how to get a high score in writing and speaking step by step in depth, check out my IELTS courses. Both are linked below. And if you want a free taster, watch this lesson and guess the topic, mastering the tone in your letter. Thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!